Thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Colette Ambo. Coming up, $200,000 has been committed to the eradication of pit latrines in the Castle Bruce Constituency. A consulting group from the U.S. visits the site of the indoor sporting facility in the Roseau North Constituency, and work on the rehabilitation of feeder roads to commence soon. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
A lot of bathtubs are blamed for bruises. Some staircases are accused of being responsible for broken bones. Doors are occasionally viewed suspiciously as causing lesions. A high percentage of tables are accused of producing bleeding or trauma. Violence against women is a crime, and it's everyone's responsibility. It's inexcusable. If you're a victim or witness of physical or psychological violence or abuse, seek help and denounce the perpetrator.
Thanks for staying with us. The DLP administration's focus on sheltering the less fortunate continues to transform the lives of families and communities across the island. Vina George lives in the southeastern community of Rivière-Sirik and is one of hundreds who have benefited from government's housing assistance initiatives. She and her 6 children once lived in this small, broken-down house.
It didn't good. When rain was falling, between the rafters, we used to wet. Sometimes I have to be sheathing. Sometimes I don't have to be lying on that during for my children.
Things are different now, and the family now lives in this brand new house, compliments the Roosevelt Iscariot-led administration.
I feel so happy that my children are living in a better home now, and myself, I have more privacy, my children have more privacy. Without Mr. Stevenson and the government of Dominica, I don't think I'd be living in a house like that.
Government's sanitation program is changing lives all across Dominica. In the Castle Bruce Constituency, reports are that only 35 pit latrines remain to be replaced with modern facilities. At the 17th inaugural meeting of the Castle Bruce Village Council on Wednesday, the constituency representative, Honorable Johnson Drago, shared good news.
I went to the lady home, she said, Jono, money pour baton pour aller close the call. That's why I was elected, to ensure that more of you will not be taking baton to go to your toilet very soon. Because as we speak, the Prime Minister has committed $200,000 for Castle Bruce and Depart for the continuation of the bathroom facility. And these funds will go to the Castle Bruce Village Council for implementation in the traditional way of managing the country's finances.
In related news, plans to erect 10 more petrol casas in the Castle Bruce constituency is about to come full circle. The beneficiaries will no longer live in petrol casas but standard houses built by the government of Dominica. The Honorable Parliamentary Representative for that constituency, Johnson Drago, explained the challenges and the new plan to his people.
The persons who've been waiting patiently for the petrol casa, they won't be petrol casas anymore because, as it turned out, the Castle Bruce leg of the petrol casa were the last set to be constructed. The material, the plastic materials got a bit compromised, and they tried to salvage them, but it was not possible. Having done the platforms for the petrol casa houses. So we had to go back to the drawing board. Designs were made, estimates were made. They had to be approved by planning, come to cabinet, we had to look at it. There was a little back and forth because of everything we have to take into consideration. But I can say to you tonight, my dear people waiting for the petrol casas, that the Minister of Finance has made all the funds available for the completion of the petrol casa houses, well over $750,000. So you will see work. We're going to employ 5 local contractors to build the 10 houses at the back there. We'll do it fast. So you will soon be getting your houses, and you will soon be into your houses.
The Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister for Finance, Roosevelt Iscariot, also spoke on that subject when he addressed the Castle Bruce residents on Wednesday.
We had some challenges on the 10 houses we were building, and there were some people who were happy that it stopped. They were celebrating. Yeah, it stopped. Good for all you. But I will say to them that the good Lord has given us the $750,000. And we have made it available to ensure that this project will not only recommence, but will be completed to the satisfaction of the 10 families in Castle Bruce who will get a new brand home.
Ultimately, Castle Bruce residents will not have to wait much longer for their new homes. Gifts from the Roosevelt-Skerritt government. The consulting group responsible for the construction of the proposed indoor sporting facility is on island. On Friday, members from the RLO Consulting Group from Miami met with members of cabinet, including Honorable Sports Minister Justina Charles and Parliamentary Representative for the Roseau North Constituency, Honorable Julius Timothy, as well as members of different sporting associations across the island. The group is here to get the first look at the site for the construction of the indoor sporting facility.
Basically, we started work from May, and during the month of May, we put together a steering committee to look with various stakeholders to look at the whole development of the concept for the indoor facility and to give their input. So we've put persons from netball, the Netball Association, the Basketball Association, Volleyball Association. So these people came together with Mr. Rupert Sarendo as the chairperson of that committee, and they've deliberated on it. They visited the site, got the topographic view of the area, and they've already made recommendations, and out of that recommendations they sent this for recommendation to the architect in Miami, and so they've developed a preliminary design based on what they had. So they are now visiting us and looking at presenting the preliminary design that they make. Now it's now up to us, now that we've visited the site and they have a first-hand view of what the site looks like, so we will sit this afternoon and deliberate on the way forward, and they will now go back and redesign based on the other recommendations that we are making, so that we can move the process forward in ensuring that we have the indoor facility.
The Honorable Minister gave an outline of what the facility will entail once completed.
We're hoping to have 3 main courts, indoor courts, where we would have games, 3 sporting activities taking place simultaneously. That could be netball, basketball, volleyball. And we also have a center court where, from the preliminary design, and it's subject to change, where we have retractable seats, so we can have 1 main game if we have an international game, and we will be having seats to accommodate over 1,000 persons, over 3,000 persons, I think. And we will be having parking. And we also intend to have outdoor courts where we will have practices, and we will make allowance for people living in surrounding areas, because you do not want this facility to be, a facility that is going to be used and cause any rapid deterioration in the condition of the facility.
The current site for the facility was once a netball facility in the Stock Farm area. They are hoping for a final design in the next few months.
I saw already the preliminary design, and we pointed out to them what sort of changes we would like, and they will go back and look at it now that they've seen the site and what our ideas are, and we expect within the next month or so they will come back to us. But we will keep on tweaking and working with them. We hope that within about 2 to 3 months we should have a final design for the site.
We have a lot of experience in this trade, and we hope that what we are going to build is going to be a beautiful piece of architecture and a usable piece of architecture for all the people in Dominica. The site, we had never visited the site, and it's a beautiful site. You couldn't ask architecturally for anything better than this. This has the view, it has the access, it will have the access. It's a perfect site, perfect.
The Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt-Skerritt, in his 2014-2015 national budget presentation, allocated $1.6 million to the Ministry for Culture, Youth and Sports, which is responsible for the construction of that indoor facility. The cost of the facility has not yet been finalized. An ecumenical service at the Anglican Church in Roseau and an address from Chief Justice Janice Pereira marked the start of the 2014-2015 Lawyer in Dominica on Wednesday. His Lordship, the Bishop of Roseau, Gabriel Malzer, sought to remind the law officials of the vital role their services play in the sustenance of a peaceful society.
Jesus in today's gospel selection reminds us that he has not come to abolish the law or the prophets, but he has come to complete them. It seems to me that your task as upholders of the law has a similar role. I believe that every time human beings find true justice meted out to them, the whole world stands to benefit. In some instances, that good may not be perceived immediately, especially if that justice is leveled in a negative way. That is, if a person is found guilty. Even guilty people, when they are pronounced guilty, has a positive effect on society. So it is not a question of someone escaping the law because of some technicality or another, but it is a matter of being in pursuit of truth. Therefore, if truth is not pursued, our society cultivates warped and dulled consciences, with little comprehension of the difference between good and bad.
He encouraged all law practitioners to emulate the very personality of God by seeking justice for God's people, focusing primarily on the noble task of keeping peace and not winning cases. The service was also attended by His Excellency the President of Dominica, Charles A. Savre, and his wife. A parade of uniformed officers proceeded to the Dame Mary Eugenia Charles Boulevard after the Mass. Delivering via simulcast in Anguilla, Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, ECSC, Dame Janice Pereira, presented her speech entitled, "Fulfilling Our Strategic Vision in Challenging Times."
It is of utmost importance that we continually assess the court's performance in the context of the strategic plan to ensure the due administration of justice. Such continual assessment is necessary so as to determine whether we are achieving our objectives, and if not, to identify the factors impacting performance and to consider the solutions for addressing them. When we look at the development of the court against the strategic blueprint, we can boast of triumphs and lament the challenges. We can attest to the positive impact which the reform of the court structure and procedures implemented to date have had in combating the difficulties faced by the court. In the same vein, we can admit that we have not achieved as much as we had hoped. However, through it all, the court has relentlessly pressed on.
The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court was established in 1967. The beginning of the new lawyer signifies the end of court vacation, a period in which there is no high court activity except for emergency. In more news, the rehabilitation of feeder roads across the country under the Banana Accompanying Measures BAM program is expected to kick off soon. The Honorable Finance Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, announced in Parliament on Thursday that $673,767.83 of supplement grant funds from the EU was made available to facilitate administration and commencement of the program. Honorable Skerrit gave a brief status update on BAM.
I am advised that all the feeder roads selected and prioritized by the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry for rehabilitation under the BAM have been surveyed, and estimates for the rehabilitation works have been prepared for the engagement of private consultants as well as staff of the Ministry of Public Works and Lands and Surveys Division. The companies, both local and regional, have been invited to tender for the validation and supervision of works, to be undertaken in 2 phases for the rehabilitation of the feeder roads selected and prioritized. This will include verification of the selected roads and verification approval of engineering drawings and pre-construction cost estimates. The indicative timetable for this project is as follows. 1. Deadline for submission of tenders for supervision, 12 September 2014. 2. Start of supervision contract, 1st October 2014.
BAM, which was launched in May last year, is a European Union program which provides financial support to the banana sectors of supporting African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. The finance minister said physical work should commence in February 2015 according to schedule. Also, under the BAM program, a total of $280,417.88 have been provided by the EU and the DLP government for the citrus certification program. And finally, this news time. Festive mood in the community of Point Michel this morning, Friday 19th September, as scores of parishioners joined in celebration of the feast of Our Lady of La Salette. His Excellency the President of Dominica, Charles Savre, and his wife, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Iscariot, and other government officials were present to celebrate with parishioners. Several students attired in uniforms were also there for Mass. A number of parish priests came together to officiate the event. However, His Lordship Gabriel Malzer, Bishop of the Diocese of Roseau, was the main celebrant. He spoke of the significance of the feast to the people.
Simeon blessed them and said to Mary, his mother, "You see this child? He is destined for the fall and the rising of many in Israel, destined to be a sign that is rejected, and a sword will pierce your own soul too, so that the secret thoughts of many may be laid bare." What a thing to tell a mother. What a thing. My dear friends, just a little pondering on these words can help us understand why Our Lady is regarded as the Lady of Sorrows. I have no doubt that many of you here are able to identify with that experience. This is why this feast of Our Lady of Sorrows is such a feast of identification. It helps us realize that no matter how serious our troubles are, someone has experienced it before us.
He added that the celebration of this feast is a time of national reflection.
We all feel the need to become more transparent creatures in the presence of divinity. We all feel the need to become better human beings. If this is the case, keep feeling that way, because it will most certainly set you on the path to salvation. All I can say to you is that we have a great deal of work ahead of us that we have to complete. We have the task of fighting against the prevailing culture of greed, the culture of licentious living, sexual irresponsibility. We have to fight against the culture of hatred one for another. We have to fight against the disease of societal factions, of drunkenness, of drug addiction. We have to fight against the cold apathy that threatens to snatch away the human soul.
Bishop Malzer believes the National Shrine of Our Lady of La Salette should be a hub of prayer for the nation. That's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Nom moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, projet multipurpose sports complex en Stock Farm on pas pris pour venir en réalité. Une équipe architecte RL Howard Miami visité l'occasion là aujourd'hui pour présenter preliminary design pour faciliter là. Plusieurs officiers gouvernement en parmi membres parlement Honorable Julius Timothy, ministre sport Honorable Justin Charles et officiers sport aussi visité l'occasion là pour garder design là. quand même si le ministre Sport, Honorable Justin Charles, c'est architecte là présenté ce design là et puis comité sport qui examiné.
Nous avons 3 architectes et l'autre madame aujourd'hui ça nous a fait nous visiter stock farm où là nous tenons place netball là et nous avons gardé compte because là c'est place là nous catcher pour nous mettre indoor sports facility. So aujourd'hui là nous voyons toutes recommandations nous fait bayo avec so ça yo fait un preliminary design so yo vini pour yo là comment place là yo ka mettre facility comment y pour yo ça développer design la meilleur avec pour nous dire ça nous voulons avec although nous déjà voyé ces recommandations là bayo mais nous que vi garder ces recommandations là vis-à-vis là nous kay mettre bagay facility pour nous qui ça qui plus possible. So aujourd'hui nous j'ai fait un site là nous ka garder pour là yo que mettre côte là qui qualité building yo que mettre là nous que mettre parking là nous que mettre storage space tout différents facility en dedans building là. So ça c'est ça nous ka fait aujourd'hui là.
Autre nouvelle supplementary estimates que Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt présenté en parlement jeudi prend en considération projet géothermique et plusieurs d'autres. C'est le ministre de l'Information, Honorable Ambrose George, qui fait présentation à ce débat-là, l'argent là dépensé pour le développement pays là.
Un supplementary estimate aussi, il y a l'argent dépensé pour géothermal, nous avons dépensé pour BAM, pour l'autre projet avec l'autre travail nous fait dans le gouvernement. Pas l'argent budget là, mais l'argent nous trouvé dans l'autre manière. Parce que quand 45 millions de dollars nous dépensés, 50% de ça sorti hors loan. L'argent nous trouvé hors loan. Avec les autres là sorti hors local revenue. Avec cadeau, l'argent nous tapé comme cadeau, comme grant. OK? So, c'est ça nous pointant pour explain avec pour mener devant avec pour voir comment nous ça approuve ça en le parlement.
En autre nouvelle, ministre Kalinago Honorable Ashton Grano a condamné parole bien fort que le gouvernement Labour Party pas fait rien en constituency là. Ministre Grano fait parole cela pendant la cérémonie où la 27 familles recevaient caille que le gouvernement bâti bayo. Et le gouvernement Dominique embarqué plusieurs projets en parmi ces 27 cailles-là, hors People's Republic of China, sa Venezuela, l'école Resource Center à Sinico, en parmi projet de l'eau, scholarship et puis capacity building project. Projet Resource Center qui a bâti à présent, qui a aussi une facilité preschool et puis post office. Ministre Grano aussi bien plaisir pour plan Mayok qui a venu en réalité. Plan ça là qui facilite et puis exportation Mayok, hot pep Kalinago. Et puis finalement, comité indépendant annoncé que journée nationale pour prier bas national qui prend place week-end là. Parole cela sur le chairman comité indépendant Raymond Lawrence.
National Day of Prayer c'est un temps pour tout le monde joindre ensemble pour prier pour nation. Parce que nous toujours pour prier, nous avons un bon Dieu qui comme c'est il aime nous. Nous pour remercier, nous pour remercier bon Dieu pour l'indépendance, pour 36 l'année d'indépendance. So nous avons invité tout le monde à Dominique, là nous avons aller service pour prier pour la nation et pour tout le monde joindre à prier pour nation, pour Dominique. Oui, il y a pour place week-end ça là, samedi, le 20 septembre et le 21 septembre aussi. Parce que nous voulons tout le monde participer à la National Day of Prayer. Nous allons joindre ensemble pour prier pour la nation.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson. Un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Coming up next, more financial tips from the ECCB.
DOWASCO recognizes that clean water is vital to healthy living. Therefore, it spares no effort in providing a clean, safe, and reliable system. Help keep our rivers safe and clean. Do not cut trees along the river banks, and do not pollute with garbage, human or animal feces, and chemicals. Think water, think life.
It's all well and good to talk about savings, but if you are loaded with a debt, tackle that first. It is better to devise a plan to get out of or reduce your debts than to have to tap into your savings to settle mounting debt. Choose a debt and make it a priority to reduce and eventually pay it off, while making at least the minimum payments on your other debts. Continue this process until you have either paid off all your debts or have made them manageable. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the GIS News production team, I'm Colette Ambo. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.